We're going to run through the next two things. We're going to call this segment Around the Grounds. This is the up and down of lower division soccer in North America or in America. Do we want to do positive or negative first?
Start with the positive.
Want to start with the positive first? All right, positive. USL gets infusion of cash from private equity firm Bell Tower Partners.
That's a positive.
Okay.
It is a positive. The league
private equity is never a positive. Sorry.
All right. If you know the history of how Major League Soccer existed and survived, it really was three families, the Hunts being one of them, that saved the league. And you need deep pockets. And
no, investment in this league is absolutely a good thing. I work for private equity. Please don't fire me.
Yeah. So, Crystal, give us your thoughts. So, you say you weren't really a fan of leagues in general, but what do you think of the landscape of soccer here in North America? The disjointed, not connected in any particular way. We're just kind of doing fly-by-night nature of soccer here in North America.
I like that we're trying to grow the love and just get the word out of the different leagues. So like I said, I've played for over 20 years. Like my family has played, like my dad, my stepmom played, my little sister plays. You know, we're a soccer family, but like I use women's soccer as like a example because sorry to the men, I can't stand men's soccer because of all the flopping. I know why they do it, but I'm like, get up. Just, I know what you're trying to do, but get up. You're fine. You're fine. Just get up and keep going.
Spoken like a true goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
spoken like a true goalkeeper.
Well, okay. So fun little stuff about me. I play on Tuesdays with a women's league, recreational. It's all, both are indoor that I play in. I play goalie for them, and then I play field for the men. And they're not dramatic, but it definitely, you like run really hard. And like I get up. I've been bowled over quite a few times playing with the men. My dad has bowled me over several times. I get up unless I'm actually hurt, which I've limped. I tore my plantar fascia about a couple months ago in my left foot, limped my way off the field. And I was like, I'm fine. It hurts, you know? All that to say, as a kid, I didn't have like a women's league to watch growing up. My dad didn't really watch soccer while we were growing up. We just played more than anything else. So I like getting the word out there and having soccer kind of grow to football levels, hopefully one day, you know, where people are like, oh, I've got a game on, like, because we typically choose like Saturdays or Fridays, you know, it's like, oh, there's a game tonight, you know, like I want it to grow because I'm tired of football. I'm tired of football, basketball, and baseball because those are the three big sports here in America. I need soccer to be up there
hey.
Like it is in the world.
Hockey, man. Hockey. There's National Hockey League will take exception to not being included in that tier of teams.
I mean, soccer is just summer hockey as far as I'm concerned.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And I want hockey to grow, you know, like I know there's a professional women's hockey league, but like no one ever talks about them. You know, I want to get into all the different sports. Found out there's a hockey team that's sponsored by a strip club. And so they wear the stripper names on the back of their jerseys, which is kind of fun.
Wait a second. We need to do a whole episode on that.
I have to find them somewhere. I think they're actually in Florida or something like that.
Marcus, were you aware of this?
I was aware of a European team that did a porn site as their sponsor, and it was a women's team, and there was a big uproar, and they were like, isn't this women's empowerment? I'm funding.
Hey, more power to them. You know, if they want to get the word out there and they're being supported, I support women's sports. However it needs to be supported.
Most definitely. Yeah, it's just again. I rail against the fact that a lot of these stadium deals are just real estate plays, and then we kind of throw a team in as an afterthought. The thing is, if the federation is going to focus so heavily on stadiums, which is all it really cares about, is whether or not you have the facilities. And it doesn't, right, stadiums and whether or not the owner has a deep enough pocket. Like if you go through the professional league standards, none of it says anything about, hey, this is what, I'm going to give you an example. So like Iceland, right, small country, obviously, but they have a national from youth to professional tier of like, this is how we're going to play the game. Okay. Oh, the Dutch do this. So that from you whatever 9 to professional, we all know we're gonna play a 4-4-2. That's not really the formation, but we all play this exact same formation. So that from when you start off to when you become a professional, everyone is skilled at that position. So you don't have to retrain. Here at the youth level, we tend to take whatever the most athletic kid is and said, "You're the forward. We're just going to kick and you chase after this." And this is really not the way to do it. We're going to revert back to what the original point of this is. Like Dennis said, PE money is hit or miss. It's whether or not they have, it's whether or not we can both benefit each other, right? They're going to get their real estate deal, so they're going to make their money that way, and hopefully we get a sustained, uh, more, more solid foundation for the sport here. Because as people say, whenever we bring up promotion relegation, is like, hey, teams die, yada yada yada. Maybe we should focus on that first. But for anyone who doesn't know, this is a soccer pyramid here in North America. This is trash. This is annoying. This is confusing. I
That
mean,
doesn't look like a pyramid. That looks like, I don't even know what you would call that shape.
exactly. So
It's
it's
something,
all
all right.
it's all
Actually, it's an
different.
eagle. It's an eagle. That's what it
It's
is.
Like an awkward eagle.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
is bigger than the other.
you know, and then we're gonna get the women's side's gonna get a second division here in 2026. So it's all frustrating. I don't think USL is perfect, but they're at least trying to connect the pyramid from top to bottom. So we're gonna get to the negative side here. So apparently the end of this season is the end of the current CBA by USL, and it's not going well. So they decided to head to social media, which is what anyone does in this day and age. You don't talk directly to anyone; you just post it online. They are directing their fans to block USL Championship on social media because, and what everyone's getting hung up on here, there is not a mandate in the current CBA for the teams to provide healthcare.
Mm.
I don't know. USL Super League is too new to have a CBA. I think they have a working CBA, but not one that's been ratified. So in maybe a year or two is when they're going to be next up to have this conversation. But what are you guys' thoughts on this announcement? Dennis, I know you wanted to say something about this.
Yeah, Marcus, I know we talked about this in chat over the weekend. This is, this is going around this week again. This has been popping up, for a few weeks now. But the way these leagues and players associations function in the United States is different than the way leagues and clubs function in the rest of the world, right? Obviously, most industrialized first world countries have some sort of universal health care in place or have something in place that this is not even necessary. But the healthcare aspect of it is typically not provided by or your health insurance, at least, right? In professional sports in the United States, your health insurance is not provided by your employer directly if you're an athlete, right? It's provided by the Players Association. It's paid for and funded by contributions from the clubs, from the ownership. But if you are a player, you have your insurance through your Players Association. The Players Association also comes on to protect up and coming players. It's a big deal for baseball with service time and minor leaguers and making sure that they get applicable service time so that they're covered. And it also benefits something that we really haven't seen here in soccer. Retired players. What happens when your career is over? How do we make sure that these players are still covered and still able to be healthy? And that's something that professional sports leagues in the United States really only in the past 10, 15 years or so have really delved into, and players associations have really done a good job to start protecting those older players. But you hear stories all the time of guys who won Super Bowls and they're dead broke because they paid out they paid out millions of dollars in medical bills, right? They had to pawn Super Bowl rings to pay medical bills. So this is not the first time this has come up in professional sports in the United States, but I do think the Players Association needs to do a better job of presenting viable options for the association to be managing that healthcare as opposed to just saying, teams, you need to do something about it.
Yeah, that Crystal, you jump in here in a second, but that was the thing I was trying to get across to some people is that they were using this to take shots at USL. They're like, "Oh, you want to be Division 1, blah blah blah." I'm like, MLS got their CBA done in like '02, right? Or not, the first one, and it didn't include healthcare in it either. The one after that was the big one that included all this stuff. The NWSL, theirs just kicked in 2022. That they're like all these clubs or all these teams, like they're just now their CBAs are just now evolving to include stuff like this. I will agree with Dennis. You don't want the clubs to be providing the health care because it's tied to your employment instead of being tied to
You tie it to your membership in the union, which is the Players Association.
exactly. So instead of the USLPA saying the league should mandate it, they should be arguing like, hey, so what we're going to do is we're going to have contributions from the league, contributions from the teams, and then player contributions, and the PA will go hunt down insurance for right. Because instead of arguing saying that the league should mandate it, just say that the league should provide contributions up to X dollars per player. It'd be $1,500 per player a year, and then it becomes the PA's job to go. Because how many professional teams are in? Or 24? You have, let's say, 28 players per team. That's several thousand people you're going to go buy a policy for. You can easily get a mass discount if that's the number you're going for. And if you include the women's leagues, that's several hundred more. So this is one of them things where, like, I think they're fighting the wrong fight here. And they have zero leverage. So this is the problem. They can't walk out because every year there's several hundred college players who graduate that I can go get that will willingly play for $30,000. So you have zero leverage in this particular instance. So also, having a big strike or work stoppage in a World Cup year would be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I don't put it past them, but it would be a really bad decision. So, Crystal, what are your thoughts on providing health care to players and CBAs? If you have opinion, if you don't, you can say that too. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
No, I do. I do have an opinion. So I'm not super familiar with how like the structuring goes within like sports and sporting things, but I know that Dennis brought up, how kind of the NFL does things. But I do think if you're gonna play a sport professionally and like someone's going to support you, but like even if it's a private family and it's privately owned, I do think that they should still provide they still should provide healthcare because it's a job like anything else that they should, even if it's shit healthcare. I mean, I've had some shit healthcare back in the day, even just a couple of years ago at my job. But at least we had it, and these players are super prone to getting injured. I made, jokes about the men not getting up, but there are times that they do genuinely get injured and they're out for so long, which I think, that they should have some sort of healthcare to help support them, because if you can't afford to go to the hospital or you can't afford to get healthcare or, any kind of healthcare, then there goes your livelihood once you get injured. Because what else are you going to be able to do? You can't work now and you have to pay all your medical bills. Like what else are you to do? There should be some kind of safety net
So
to
I do
help
want
these players.
I do want to caveat. So this was another thing I had to go do research. So because these are workers, labor law says all these teams have to carry workman's comp anyway. So it's not like there's zero health insurance.
Well, right? That's good. That's good to know that there's nothing, that they have something. But I still think that someone should be able to provide, even if it's just like the Players Association, someone should be providing some sort of healthcare for these players, because yes, like you said, you can go out and you can go get any young player, but I that's going to work for like 30,000 a year, but that's also because they're going to hope to get bought out by a different team. And what if they do get bought out by different teams? And then you start dwindling at some point, because I'm not going to get into politics, but I mean, I don't know how many more college players you're going to really be able to get at this point in time. Just how everything's going in the world. But I don't know. I feel like you would want to protect your players. Like, as personally, I don't want to see people get hurt on the field. I also don't want to see all my favorite players, get injured and then not play again because of one thing or another, or leave the team I'm supporting. I don't know.
Yeah. So I do want to throw some caveats in here. So yeah, workman's comp is covered. Most teams in the league do actually have health insurance. The argument that the players are having is that they only insure the player, right? And a lot of these players have young families, and if the wife doesn't or the other partner doesn't work, then that person has no insurance. So
Gotcha. Okay.
it's not a zero sum game. It's not saying that no one has health insurance, right? It's just saying that there's no uniformity. So like the bigger clubs, Louisville, big club, big budget, everyone's provided healthcare. Smaller club, give me maybe not Miami because that owner has money. Give me a smaller club.
Let's talk Lexington. Let's
yeah. Well, no, Lexington is a bigger club. The owner does have some financial backing, so they're not really the issue. I'm trying to like Tormenta, for instance. That guy is barely holding on, right? There's no fans in the stands. He's only surviving because he owns all the land around the stadium. So that's how he's making his money. But yeah, like that guy, I can understand him saying, if you mandate that I have to insure all these players and their families, there's no way I can field this team and I have to fold. So that is the issue. Also, like I was pointing out to Dennis, this was like 2 or 3, actually it was when the Trinity got their sponsorship, and you realize almost 70% of the league is a hotel district, or not hotel, hospital district.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, that's how you get around it. You're like, hey, as long as you're in DFW, I can fly you back here and we can get your health care.
I mean, the FC Dallas does that with UT Southwestern. They you spend money on sponsorship and you give back a certain amount of hours of healthcare.
Yeah. So it's one of the, I mean, I guess it's better than Advocare, but yeah, so it's one of those like it's not as fatalistic as people are trying to point out to be.
Okay.
Again, as a worker in this country, you get workman's comp, so that's the floor.
Yeah, right? And then they get the players themselves will all be covered. It's mainly they're also worried about their families because what if it's a one income household? And honestly, that's a fair thing. I think about it. Any other place that you work, you can get insurance for your family. Now, is it going to cost a pretty penny out of your paycheck? 100%. Like I look at like mine. So like, one day, when Michaela and I get married and like, if I want to carry her on my insurance, I think I have to pay like $600 a paycheck or something like that for like mine. But it's just because that's just how much it's going to cost to carry her under me. But it would make more sense for me to carry her because of how my insurance works.
I agree with you. You might want to get that done soonish. Not a political pod, but
no, not a political pod. No, we've talked about it. There's forms I need to look up for us to fill out just in case that doesn't become an option anymore. We can still like at least be in the room with each other during all of that stuff.
So. I'm just saying not a political pod, but
no. I'm with you there. That's why I was like, I'm not gonna get into politics on like
we got it
how the world is going right now.
We like to throw hand grenades in politics and then pretend we don't know what we're talking about. Like, oh that thing happened. Wait, what happened? Like this
weekend, just never mention it again.
And never mention it again. They're fair enough. But yeah, so this is the positive and negative of lower division soccer. It is hit or miss on whether or not this is the one point where I will say that maybe the net worth rule is helpful. If you have an owner with deep enough pockets, maybe he can float you. It's not an indefinite thing. If I'm worth $70 million, I don't want to pay you for 10 years without making a profit back. That's how I got $70 million, by not making dumb decisions like that.
You want to make a really good investment, but I feel like I don't know. I would put an investment into like my players' families because if their family is well taken care of and they're happy, my player is more likely to want to play for me and play as hard as they can and do as well as they can. Like I don't know, morale thing in my opinion.
No, it is. And then like the new we can circle back before we end it. The new WSL CBA includes mental health breaks and free mental health services. So it's like stuff like that you just throw in. It costs you very little to do that. Like I work for one of the big, logistics firms, and that stuff they just throw in. Like I can go adopt for free. I never thought that'd be something I need, but that's a service I get, and I can do it for free. So that's up and down. More private equity money. Actually, I think the players actually did that on purpose. It's like, hey, because USL was announcing all week about all the money they have coming in, and then the players drop this, and it's like, ooh, okay, Well played. Well played.
You
Okay.
got healthcare money?
Yeah. Can I get some of that healthcare money?
You got some for us? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
That's fair. That's fair. That all makes sense.
And this is what I was saying earlier, is that the league needs to do a better job at getting, like, their sponsors are Prix, which is a tire manufacturer. They have Best Western, which has to be the worst hotel chain in the country.
What?
Well, no, that's not true. Choice Hotels is probably worse, but
I was
I
gonna
was
say,
gonna say, I
have
don't
you
know,
stayed at a Motel
Super
6 in a while?
yeah. But I would say the worst about the big ones, right?
Okay.
You could go get
Okay.
Marriott or Hilton or Hyatt. You got Best Western.
I
Like, that's
don't know.
pretty,
I prefer
right?
Best Western over Hilton, and that's because Best Western will at least give me free breakfast. Hilton, depending on the Hilton I have to go to, I have to pay extra for that.
Fair enough. These are fair points. But what I'm saying is that they could do a better job. Go hunt down an American Airlines or Southwest or whoever it is and say, hey, we give us part of your marketing budget as a discount flight for these teams. And right, it doesn't have to be an exchange of money. We put you on our broadcast, we get a discount on flights. Everybody wins in that particular instance, and so on and so forth. But yeah, so we'll see. The season, I do always want to point out, no CBAs are ever signed during the season. There's always something that's dealt with in the off season. So this was a leverage point. The team did what they were supposed to do. The league's doing what they're supposed to do. We just got to wait for the off season, which is coming up.